Jerad Spencer, Flair Real Estate City Council meeting, May 14th. We've got a doozy for you. Okay, so the city council meeting tonight actually started a little bit early, started about 6:45. And actually, first off, I want to say it was a packed meeting. Every single seat was taken. Now, we had the social distancing. Take a look at the little picture around. We had the social distancing, so there weren't quite as many chairs, but it was full, and we're going to get into why. It was one of those meetings of, oh my gosh. So, the meeting started a little early because we got the COVID and because we have the disaster declaration going on by the governor. We had to make some other amendments regarding the extension of some of these disaster things. So they started a little early. Don't need to get into too much of that. Now, the main meeting started off with a re-swearing in of some of the council members that were re-elected. Well, they weren't really re-elected because there wasn't an election because no one ran against them. So problems with the city, be sure when time runs for you, when election time comes from your area, you run if you're in your area to help make a difference. Now, Mayor Pro Tem is Misty Sanj Garrett, and then City Treasurer is still Angela Jordan. They are currently those positions. Let's see. Now, one of the first main point was a hot tax. Now, a hot tax is actually the hotel occupancy tax that comes up anytime someone stays in our city. There is a small portion of tax that person does pay that goes to the state and then as well as goes to our city. Now, one of the hotels actually petitions to have the hot tax waived. Now, the city attorney actually did speak to the council about this to let them know that he was unaware of any other city or area that allowed the hot tax to suspend it. And he doesn't believe we actually can suspend it because it is a mandatory tax by the state. Now, the city could defer the allowed tax or the needed tax, but they really didn't suggest that because if a person didn't stay in the hotel, then the tax wasn't collected. So if they stayed, the tax is collected, might as well just pay it because you have it right away. Now, so that's just kind of going in. Now, if you're unfamiliar for what the hot tax is, that hotel occupancy tax, the city takes that money and helps give it to organizations that are doing events, whether charitable or whatever, events that are going on. And the intention is that event is bringing either heads in beds, the expression, bringing people into our town that may stay at our hotel, or putting our town in a good repute and bringing money in. Those people possibly spend money at the fast food restaurants, or restaurants in general, Walmart, Market Basket, grocery. Basically, it's bringing in new people to spend money in our town. That's really what it's set up for. And one of the other organizations in the town, I think the Rotary, did get some hotel occupancy tax money prior to the corona, and they had to actually cancel their event. Now, since they were awarded that money, and that they didn't get to have the event, that money should really come back to the city, and I think they're going to bring that up. And it should. I mean, the money's not spent. The money was, they did spend a little bit with one of the vendors, but the vendor refunded their money. So it should be able to come back. Now, there's also another little problem, and in the city minutes, if you look it up, the mayor did speak about a little problem that they had. Now, apparently, there's some issues with the current disaster policy within the town. And judging by what the mayor said, some of the wording about payroll or the pay time wasn't correct, and there was a bunch of city employees here to say something about it. And they temporarily suspended the current disaster policy to revert back to the prior disaster policy until some of the verbatim can be fit, or the verbiage could be fixed in the current system, because apparently it's broken. So that was really nice for the mayor to actually speak up and tell them that we appreciate it. Let's go back to the old system for a time period until we can fix your problem or the grievances up between people. So that was really nice. Okay, continuing on, there's they approved some ratifications for disaster programs that we've already got for Harvey, some continuations of stuff that's already in place. We just had to approve it because of time, and actually some FEMA stuff relating to COVID to help get some money in from these grant programs. Now, there is an engineering contract. We talked about this one of the last meeting times to Schaumburg and Polk. They've been awarded a CDBG mitigation application contract. So that's that $25 million grant we're trying to get. Well, we have to have the engineer studies, we have to have some surveys done. And the big thing is, here, I posted this. I look a couple of my other days. Look right here. There should be a link. I'm going to post it. If you're watching on YouTube, it's going to be posted right there. Click that. If you live within the city, we need your application done. It's like 5 questions. It takes you 30 seconds. If you're not comfortable with the answering how much money you make, please just put something, because we have to have 80% of the applicants or 80% of the households fill this out. And right now we're at 31% surveys. $25 million. This goes towards drainage. We need your help. Please get in there and do it. Like I said, click the link there or up in the Facebook comments. I'm going to post the link in there as well. It takes no time at all, 1 per household. Let's see. Keep going on. Consideration and possible action to approve the application for JAG grant for PD portion of COVID-19 expense. Yes, that's a mouthful. JAG, not the military lawyers, but Justice Assistance Grant. I believe that's what JAG stands for. So apparently our VPD has acquired a little. They had some expenses dealing COVID. I think about $200,000 for personal protection, PPE, personal protection equipment, masks, things related to COVID. So we're going to try to get some of that money back as a full reimbursement, not a grant program where we have to match, but an actual reimbursement. There's not much available. There's, I think, only $600,000 available to a certain grouping, an area, and we've got $200,000 in expenses to it. But fortunately, Beaumont, Port Arthur, they're not tied to this grouping that we're competing against. Now, here's the thing. Did you know that if you're going to dig a pond in city limits, we actually have there is a private lake checklist for the city you have to approve. You've got to write off on it. Now, some of you may know that. I know that. But I forget to tell people about certain things like this because it doesn't come up very often. So if you're trying to put a pond inside city limits, come to code enforcement. There is a checklist that you must adhere to. And actually, the person that was putting a pond in, they have 17 acres within city, trying to put that in, just wanted to comply. So being a very good citizen, they followed the rules and regulations. What I liked about Councilmember Busing is he said, why the heck is this coming to council, and why are they taking the time to deal with this? Shouldn't this be a code enforcement thing? So what's so great about that statement is they're trying to take some of the rules and regulations out of the city ordinances, because apparently it's in the ordinances that they must. So if we can get rid of some of that red tape, code enforcement can fix some of these problems, make a decision right then and there, checklist done, we're good, let's approve it. So I really like that about council member brought up. I think Rodney agreed with him as well. Council member, sorry. So let's fix the city's processes for builders, people construction, people trying to make improvements to make it easier. I like that. I'm sure you do too. If you know of a problem or an issue that code enforcement is not handling or things that should be easier, put the comments in below and we'll bring it up. Okay. Now, here's something that's really great for the city, a presentation for a master park plan. Okay, so we're going to get into this a little bit more. So apparently there is a master park grant system by the Texas Parks and Wildlife. Well, then, if we could, they're there to help for beautification of neighborhoods by installing park equipment. Kind of free, not free, 50% match. But here's the kicker. So there's a gentleman that actually does this. He writes grants. It's going to cost the city about $26,000 to have this master plan. In order to have this, to apply for this stuff, you have to have a master plan program. So in order to get this to the big stuff, you got to start doing the small stuff. Got to have an overall plan for the city and the betterment of the community. And there's money involved. Now, $26,000. That's a lot of money. But the city has $150,000 for economic progress. we have saved up. So they take a small portion, build and build and build in case something like this comes up. So this is going to come out of that funding that's already sitting there to help make economic progress. But what this does is it can be twofold. The grant says you have to do a 50% match. But if land is donated and work is donated, that goes towards a 50% match. So a splash pad is part of this park stuff. So what does a splash pad need? Well, it needs water, it needs drainage. So would a retention pond be considered as drainage for a splash pad area? Yes. So the dirt work, the digging is considered, and if it's donated, it's considered money towards a 50% match. So one of the conversations was, let's put a splash pad near the pool, dig a retention pond that's back there that helps work as a detention pond or a retention pond for the flooding for Heritage Park or other such areas. Twofold, and getting someone else to pay for a portion of it, and the match being from donated money. So this opens up a whole new set of things that the city can possibly do to help acquire some of this money, make the city look better, help families, give entertainment to us for little pop-up parks. The big one, it would be in Com Park, new equipment. This is something really, really good, and a lot. There's a lot of potential with it, and I look forward to learning a little bit more about this. Now, let's go into some other things. Hey, Raleigh Burr has resigned. He is the interim city manager, and their actually city council is meeting right now and discussing some of this stuff about another city manager. I don't think they're going to be in it a little bit, but Raleigh has resigned, and he's going back to the ministry apparently. So thank you so much for the time that you've put out, Raleigh, if you're watching this, and if you know him, be sure you message him. Now, I said there's going to be some major issues. Wow, there was a cockfight to the 10th degree, Acadian, not really allegiance, but Emergency Service District 1 for ambulance service. Apparently there's some big problems. Things weren't done from the city's part of a little grouping that Emergency Service District 1 takes care of, ambulance services. There's just too much to go over. There is some serious bad blood between them, and I don't know all the history of it, and I'm sure it's big. I'm sure some of you guys know it. Now, if Vidor doesn't come on board with Emergency Service District, we could have some serious problems. I mean, we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. We've got to kind of agree with them, but checks and balances weren't made. There was some major oversight by Emergency Service District 1. There's just so much to go over, and the council meeting was very, very heated between council members, the people talking. You can feel the tension in the room, and it was wow. I mean, just big. Okay, so apparently we didn't. Emergency Service District or Allegiance, the new ambulance agency, didn't seek a contract. They were sought after because of some of the problems with the current ambulance service, and the city council was told some inaccurate stuff, and there was some backtracking even with things that were being said, and it was tough to really listen to it and hear the bickering, not really bickering as a negative between council, but just some of the difference and disagreements of thought process and how things were conveyed. It was tough, so there's going to be a lot more, and I think I'm going to dig a little deeper in that. And conflicting statements, and there was a lot made. So we're going to find out a little bit more what's going on with that. So stay tuned, and if the city council goes over and elects someone else, I'll add a little bit more to this video. But right now, that's kind of where we're at. Jerad Spencer, Flair Real Estate. If you've got questions, if you want to know what's going on in town, just send me a message. Hit comment below, ask your questions, check out the previous messages. There's a playlist of all the city council meetings. You can kind of go over through the quick notes. This is the longest one I've ever done. Guys, Jerad Spencer, Flair Real Estate, letting you know what's going on at Vidor City Council.